Alright guys, so if you don't know the story of David Reimer, then you're going to want to stick around for this one. Because even though he seems like a normal guy, he was anything but. This is truly a compelling story. David was born April 22nd, 1955 in Winnipeg, Canada, along with his twin brother Brian. As they were growing up, everything seemed to be going well, until one fateful day. The boy's mother noticed that they were having trouble urinating, so she decided to take him to the doctor. The doctor ended up diagnosing the boys with phimosis, which is the tightening of the skin around the private area. And he said the only way to cure this was to have a circumcision. And even though this was 1965, circumcisions were still very common. But this is truly where everything went wrong. The boy's mom ends up getting a call at home and is told that something severely wrong has occurred to David. Instead of using a regular knife to cut around the area for the circumcision, the doctors ended up using a cauterizer and accidentally cauterized David's penis completely off. Subsequently, Brian, David's brother's circumcision was cancelled. Devastated by the news, the mom decided to take the boys back home. Left to wonder what was going to happen next. A few months went by, and that is when the parents were watching TV and they ran into this guy. This is Dr. John Money, and he was a psychologist at the time specializing in sex changes. He believed that sex really wasn't determined by biology, but rather it could be influenced through psychology and environment. He was able to convince David's parents to stop raising him as a boy and start raising him as a girl, and to never reveal the truth about the nature of David's birth to him or to the brother. So it was at this time, at 17 months old, that David finally became Brenda. And 4 months later, ends up getting completely cauterized to complete the process. But David never really felt like a female. When she was young, she always wanted to play with her brother's toys. She never wanted to pretend to put on makeup or do any other girly stuff. And at school, she was constantly being bullied for being very tomboyish and always wanted to play rough and tumble with the boys. It was at 12 years old that finally Brenda came to her mom and told her that she was feeling suicidal. So at this point, the parents felt that they could not hide the secret any longer. So they took them both apart. They took the brother Brian to the park, and Brenda stayed at home, and were each individually told that David was actually born as a boy. To much relief, David was exhilarated, that he wasn't crazy, and in fact, he was justified in feeling the way he did. The brother Brian, though, didn't end up taking the news so well. Still, Brian, feeling vindicated from all his feelings of never feeling like a female, ends up going the rest of his days as a boy and changes his name officially to David. He even ends up getting married at one point in his life to his wife here, who already had 3 children. The story, though, does not have a happy ending. Brian never really recovered from the schizophrenia and depression that he started suffering after the news of his brother, and in 2002, at the age of 36, ended up committing suicide by drug overdose. After being conned out of $20,000 and with a lot of marital trouble, David's life starts taking a turn for the worse. And 2 years later, after the suicide of his brother, ends up taking his own life as well. This story is important because it brings about the issue of nature versus nurture, and the true meaning of being male or female. Like and follow for more stories like this.